All right, today we are going to talk about a hidden force that shapes some of our best experiences, sound. I mean, it's this thing that works so deep beneath our consciousness that most of the time we don't even notice it's there. Let's get right into it.
So, let me just ask you, what's the single most important ingredient in a truly amazing restaurant? You're probably thinking the food, right? Or maybe the service, the lighting, all great answers. But what if I told you the real secret sauce is something you're not even supposed to hear?
You know, for most restaurants, music is a total afterthought. It's just some playlists they throw on to fill the dead air, maybe set a kinda sorta vibe, or just drown out the clatter from the kitchen. It's treated like wallpaper, but that's getting it completely backward. And that brings us to the core idea from our source material today. This quote just nails it. Sound is not decoration. It is infrastructure. Think about that. Long before a single bite of food hits your tongue, your nervous system has already scanned the room and decided if it feels safe, if it feels rushed, or if it feels welcoming, all based on sound.
So that brings us to our first big idea, the unheard ingredient. We're about to break down how the most incredible sound design doesn't even start with music. No, it starts with the complete opposite.
The perfect environment actually begins with what's called the silence that is not empty. Now, this isn't that awkward, library-like quiet where you're afraid to breathe. No, it's a carefully engineered quiet, a space where all the sharp, harsh sounds have been sanded down, where reflections are softened, and where no single sound is jarring enough to grab your attention. So how do you actually get this kind of quiet? Well, it's not about fiddling with the volume knob. It's architectural. It's about using materials that absorb sound, like wood and fabric and leather. And it's about using things like curved surfaces that scatter sound waves so you don't get those harsh echoes that make a room feel, well, brittle. And the crazy thing is, the effect this has on us, it is immediate and totally subconscious. When you walk into a room designed like this, you naturally lower your voice. You can literally feel your shoulders drop. Your breathing slows down. The room is telling you without a single word, hey, it's safe here. You can relax. Only then, once that foundation is laid, can music even begin to do its job. All right, so once you have that beautiful, controlled quiet, you can start layering in sound. Which brings us to our next section, the rules of invisible sound. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of creating an audio experience that feels less like a performance and more like a perfect host. And here is where almost everybody gets it wrong. Most places are asking the wrong question entirely. They're sitting around debating, should we play jazz, or ambient, classical, or electronic? The right question has nothing to do with genre. It's about physics. It's what is the sound's frequency behavior? This is what really matters. You want the sound to live mostly in this mid-low range, because that's right where the human voice sits. It makes conversation feel effortless and intimate. Then you add a little gentle warmth in the lower frequencies, which just feels comforting. And this part is absolutely key. You roll off those piercing high frequencies. That way, the clink of a wine glass sounds warm and artisanal, not sharp and brittle. I mean, I absolutely love this metaphor from the source material. It captures the feeling perfectly. You're not aiming for a bright, shiny, polished chrome sound that's screaming for your attention. The goal is brushed linen, something warm, something soft, something comfortable you can just sink right into. And it's not just about the frequencies. It's about the rhythm, too. The sweet spot for dining music is right between 55 and 75 beats per minute. Now, why that specific range? Well, because it lines up almost perfectly with a resting heart rate. See, the whole point is to create a rhythm for eating, not a rhythm for dancing. When music is too fast, it makes you feel rushed. It actually compresses your sense of time. But this slower tempo, it encourages you to taste more attentively, to chew more deeply. And it has this really fascinating side effect. It makes time feel like it's stretching out, which lets the whole experience just sink in. Okay, so we've got the rules, right? We've got the frequencies and the tempo, but how do you actually apply this stuff across an entire meal? Well, that brings us to our next section, the arc of an evening. So first off, you gotta forget about a Spotify playlist. This is not that. We're talking about a meticulously designed, closed ecosystem, a continuous loop of 33 tracks that guides the entire journey from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave. And that journey is broken down into 5 distinct phases, almost like acts in a play. Each one has its own sonic mission, from helping you decompress when you first arrive, all the way to the very end, where the evening just gently winds down instead of coming to an abrupt halt. Let me give you an example. So during phase 2, social warmth, this is when the first courses are arriving, the music brings in these soft strings and muted tones. This creates what the source calls a murmur of belonging. It's like this social camouflage that makes your own conversation feel private, but at the same time connected to the gentle buzz of the room. Then, let's jump ahead. You get to the dessert and lingering phase, and the soundscape totally shifts again. The musical textures get thinner, the sense of motion slows way down, and silence actually becomes a bigger part of the mix. And what this does is it encourages you to just lean back, to relax, and to linger, without ever getting that nagging feeling that you need to check the time.
And all of this careful, painstaking work leads us to our final section, which is really the ultimate goal here, creating hospitality you never notice.
And here's the beautiful kind of mind-bending paradox of it all. When this is done perfectly, nobody ever leaves saying, wow, the music in there was great. No way. Instead, they say things that reflect the effects of the great sound design. They'll say, we completely lost track of time, or, the conversation just flowed so easily.
And look, this isn't just some abstract artistic goal. There's a powerful, real-world business case for all of this. Guests actually stay longer, but without feeling like they're being held up. They order more desserts, more drinks. The staff, even the staff, experiences less vocal fatigue. And maybe most importantly, it creates a way stronger, much more positive emotional memory of the whole experience.
So it really all boils down to this. The highest compliment you can possibly receive is for no one to notice at all. The sound isn't there to perform for you or to demand your attention. It's there to host you. It's there to hold the space and to make the entire room feel generous and welcoming.
And I just want to leave you with this one last thought from the source material, because it's just so perfect. In the end, music is not what fills the space. It is what allows the space to fill us. It's the invisible architecture of connection itself.